Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I want to wish everyone a great week. Hope that you're having a fantastic start to your week. I'm going to be broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And also, I'm over here on Instagram. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm doing triple in duty today. Uh, Today, we are talking about telling your style, your story through the clothes that you wear, right? So we have style stories. Those are the things that you would hold on to that's stopping you from dressing your best. But you also have an opportunity to tell who you are through the clothing that you wear. And I think that's the one that's most positive. Thank you very much for joining. Good afternoon from India. Thank you for joining. Yes, and I'm super excited for this conversation because I think a lot of times whenever we are getting dressed, we get dressed on autopilot. Like, okay, you have to go to work, so you put on your work outfit and you just walk out the door and not thought in mind in terms of what message what you're wearing is sending and how do you feel about yourself or anything like that. And this is why I wanted to have this conversation. For those of you who are connecting with me for the first time, my name is Solita Roberts. I'm an image coach and personal stylist. These episodes that I do, it's basically helping you to get out of that style rut, get out of styling in what I call styling in the dark, not paying attention to the message and the strategies behind getting dressed, right? And the idea is to guide you through the tunnel, from styling in the dark to getting you where you're styling for greater impact in your career or your business. So thanks again for joining me. The reason why I wanted to tackle this topic, like I went to a networking event recently. Actually, it was a happy hour recently, and I'm not the best at networking. It's something that I'm working on, but in entering the room, I kind of like found my spot that I wanted to stand and where I figured, people have to pass. So they'll see me, I'll have that eye contact and the opportunity to engage with them. Excuse me. So I remember everyone that I came in contact with, we were talking and we were exchanging, what brought you to this event? What are you working on? What inspires you? The normal spiel when it comes to networking, the questions that you asked. And one of the things I've noticed, like a lot of persons that I came in contact with, every conversation I had, it was, oh my gosh, I didn't know what to wear today. Like I didn't know. I've never, been to this networking event before. I've never came to this, events held by this company before. I know it's a tech networking event, so tech is kind of casual. So there was this whole conversation around what is it they wanted to wear. And what I got from those conversations, it wasn't a case where they were looking at what do I wear to impress people, but what do I wear to express who I am and talk about myself, right? And give people an opportunity to know who I am as an individual. That's the gist of what I got from most of the conversations that I've had. And it was just fascinating for me that so many persons were wondering and were really frustrated in trying to determine what was the best outfit that will communicate who they are, their personality, and be able to connect while they're doing that networking event. And most of the times that's what it is, right? We want to build that connection, and through our clothing, that's sometimes how we're able to do that, because we use our visuals first, right? We connect with people visually. When you see someone, you determine whether or not within that couple of seconds, whether or not that's the person that you want to talk to, whether or not you want to engage with that person. So in having that dialogue and that conversation and understanding and noticing the frustration that a lot of people went through trying to decide what to wear to this event, I took the opportunity, because this is where now, I had to say, what is it I do for a living? That I'm a personal stylist and I'm image coach. And that's where, people are like, oh, and we engage in that dialogue. So it gave me the opportunity to ask them, like, why did you wear what you wore today? Right? Why did you decide on this particular outfit? What was the message? What is it that you wanted to convey to anyone that you came in contact with? And it was quite interesting, the responses. Like, I'm kicking myself that I did not like record those in a sense, they were interviews, those responses, because it was fascinating to me, the responses that I got, why women in that space, because and men in that space as well were wearing the things that they were wearing, right? I eventually, it dawned on me that, oh, maybe I should record this. There was one person that I did a 11 seconds recording with, and I'll share that at some point on my social media. But that is basically what inspired this conversation today. Being in that space, listening to the people in the space, is trying to determine what is it they want to wear and why is it they wore what they were wearing. There's a young lady on my Instagram and LinkedIn that I shared a photo that I shared with a young lady there. She was wearing athleisure wear. But what made it interesting, it wasn't just athleisure wear that you looked at. It's like, oh, she's just wearing a leggings and a crop top, looked like she just came from the gym. What made it interesting, it was the fact that she paired it with this amazing crop leather jacket. And she was wearing her African head wrap, and you looked at it and you saw a complete outfit. There was a message, there was a story behind what she was wearing, right? And engaging with her and like, why are you wearing what you're wearing? What inspires you? And telling that story, you got a better understanding as to who she is and why she showed up looking that way in this particular space. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate that. Thank you. So it's looking now as to, and I think this is the perfect time for us coming out of the pandemic and re-entering the world to really define for ourselves how we want to show up, right? What we want to wear, what message we want to send, and not put ourselves in that bracket of what society or what the industry that we're in says that we should wear, right? It's us now redefining and defining for ourselves how we want to show up and what is it we want to wear to express ourselves and to communicate who we are, right? Because people are working more towards learning who you are as a person. Before the pandemic, I think it was important that we wanted to know what that person did and, what accolades they have and what achievements and what are they doing in the world. But now we want to know who you are as a person. What are your interests? What brings you joy? What's your future plan? All right, we want to know more of who you are and what your values are. And that's how we're deciding whether or not we want to build a relationship and really connect with you on a deeper level. So you have to look at it that way. Hey, girl, thank you very much for joining. So you have to start looking at it that way, right? And this is a great opportunity for you to do that, to start dressing outside of your industry. Like I said, this was a tech event that I went to, and I got the range of answers that I got, like as to why, how they wanted to show up and what they wanted to wear. You had some person saying, "Oh, I knew it was a tech event, and I knew tech was casual." So they dressed for the industry, right? And when you dress for the industry, you don't have an opportunity to really express yourself. Now, and this is where I'm like, I'm really trying to push women specifically into getting out of that pigeonhole that you were put into when you entered an industry. So for instance, you're in the legal industry. All lawyers are not the same, right? You are not the same. You have entertainment, you have trial lawyers, you have trademark lawyers. You are not the same. You may practice law, but you practice you're in a different field of law. So why is it you want to show up looking the same across the board, right? And that comes from you dressing more so for the industry that you're in, and not necessarily dressing for yourself and expressing who you are, but at the same time ensuring that you are appropriately dressed, right? There's a difference there. You have to be appropriate, but you still have room to express who you are, right? And people are tapping into more of learning who you are as a person, more so than what your business is, right? We will get to that later, but the first thing we want to know who you are and what are some of your values. So I wanted to talk about storytelling through style. How can you tell your story through the clothes that you wear, and how, what does that look like? Because whenever I say storytelling through style, I got that question like, oh, how do I express, who I am and the industry that I'm in, and all of that through the clothing that I wear, right? So it's an interesting topic, and I hope that you get as much as possible from it, and understanding how you can go ahead and now craft your style story, craft that story, through the clothing that you wear to tell your story. So how clothing, we have to think of fashion, in so to speak, as an instant language, right? Whether or not we agree or not, what you wear tells an instant message as to who you are, right? You base certain assumptions. You look at that person, you base certain assumptions based on the way they present themselves, based on the way they look, based on the way they wear, of what they're wearing. So clothes and fashion is an instant language, right? And you have the opportunity to define and craft your message, to tell people immediately what you want them to know about you, instead of them forming their own opinions. Because sometimes when people form their own opinions of us, it's take us a while to really like to craft, it's so to speak, like it takes us a while to redefine and really tell them who we are. There's more effort into really telling them, hey, this is who I am. I know this is who you assume I am, but it's not who I am, right? So it's a lot more effort. So you have the opportunity to really tell people who you are. And how clothes communicate that is through three elements, right? There is color, there is fit, and there's styling. When we look at colors, and this is where something that I really enjoy is wearing colors, because not only does it make me feel great about myself, but whenever I'm in these spaces that I'm not comfortable in or I'm not confident in, colors allow me to project a certain level of like beaming, like I beamed within the room and everyone is looking like, oh, wow, I loved how you pair that color. And that in itself creates an opportunity for conversations, right? So whenever you're thinking about colors in terms of communication and what you wear and being able to communicate that, it's often said that navy blue, it signifies a level of trust and confidence. And that's why you see in the corporate spaces, a lot of companies will opt for navy blue, right? And in your industry, navy blue, because you work in that corporate setting, navy blue may be something what you have to wear every single day. That is fine, right? But how can you add and tell your story in addition to what that work wear is, what that work uniform is? How can you tell your story? And that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit in, as we go through this live, is the how can you tell your story even though you may have a dress code? What what parts of your personality can you add to that, right? Another color that really speaks to likability for women, it's interesting enough, when I saw this, it's like a medium greens. It's not like a full green, it's not like olive, it's between like an olive and a teal green, kind of like between that. So when I saw that, I was like, ooh, I didn't know that. And right now, my closet is overflowing with green. Green seems to be the color of choice these days for my closet, which is fantastic because I have so many pieces that I can pair it with, right? So, so that was interesting to know that green is also a color that you can wear to really show your likability, because people are judging you and doing business and giving you opportunities based on that know, like, and trust. So if you can add an element of green to that, you're able to communicate that, we're on the same level, we have the same values, and it's intriguing now for that person to want to communicate and talk to you. Another aspect of really using your clothes to communicate, it's fit. It doesn't matter the cost of your clothing. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a brand or you're not wearing a brand. Fit is important, right? When you walk into that room, people are looking at the way your clothes falls on your body, the way it flows with your body. Is it oversized to the point that, because we do have oversized clothing that we can wear, like an oversized blazer, but is it like swimming on you, right? For my frame, I'm like super petite. I have to be careful with oversized clothing that I would wear, because that's overpowering and it's telling a different story than the one that I may want to communicate, right? So you have to pay attention to fit. Make sure that your clothing is tailored to you. Make sure that you're wearing the right size. Understanding that size is what's on the tag, right? It's what's on the tag, and size differs across brands. So you may be a 2 at one brand and a 6 at another. Do not pay attention to that. Pay attention to the way it fits, the way it flows with your body, the movement of it, the way you can, how freely can you move wearing the clothing that you're wearing, and at the same time command that level of attention and respect that you need. The other element is styling, right? Styling for me is it's the part that you really get to express your creativity and bring out your personality and really show how you would wear certain things, right? How you mix textures and fabrics and really techniques that you use. So that's what I love about the component of style, is that you get an opportunity to really express more of who you are. And this is how you get to tell your story, right? Going back to that same networking happy hour event that I went to, I wore the leopard pumps. I mean, leopard pumps is not anything new. We've seen it. It's there. But I remember someone, this girl came across to me. She was like, I saw your shoes and I just followed your shoes because I wanted to talk to you. And I was like, oh, wow. Right. For me, wearing leopard pumps is nothing. Right. But it's just part of my branding. It's just part of my creative aspect and how I want to express myself. But to someone else, it tells them I'm a person of interest. It tells them that, this is someone I want to talk to, this is someone I want to communicate with. So there is that likability that I created based on what I was wearing. I was telling my story as to who I am in a way that intrigues this woman to want to come and have a conversation with me, right? So you have to look at the style and techniques that you wear and tap into 2 or 3 techniques that you want to wear, that you're comfortable in using. And every single time that you get dressed, okay, if I'm wearing long sleeves, I'm going to a networking event, I don't want to have my shirt sleeves down. I want to do like a J. Crew roll, or I want to tuck my sleeves. I want to tuck whatever is the styling techniques that you decide on that you want to use that every single time you get dressed, to the point that you get accustomed to it, right? So that's like the 3 ways that you can really use the clothing that you're wearing to really communicate who you are, right? Really send a message as to, what type of person you are, what do you value, and what do you believe in? And from that, people will determine whether or not they want to communicate with you. Right? So think about that for a moment. Let me know in the chat or in the comments. Like, what element of your style you found that whenever you enter a room, someone paid attention to, or they made note of, or they commented on, right? What was something that you wore that someone made a comment on, and how did you feel about that? Right? So let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments on that. So going to now really getting into the meat of the discussion in terms of what are the elements of storytelling that you can use through the clothing that you wear? Now, we've all heard about storytelling. We've all watched movies, and we know, like, when you're telling a story, there is like the beginning, the middle, and the end. But when it comes to storytelling through style and through the clothing that you wear, I came up with 4 elements, right, as to how we can really tell who we are to our audience before we got a chance to really say who we are. The first element is your main characters. Like, your main characters, for me, it's the item that you're going to wear. Are you going to wear a dress? Are you going to wear a skirt? Are you going to wear pants? Right? So what is it? You start with that. That's your main character. That's the basis of which you will build your outfit. That's the foundation that you will use to really develop your message and really communicate who you are and how you want to be perceived in the spaces that you're in. So what are you going to wear? What is your main character? Right? And from that, you will now develop the theme. Like, what is the theme of a dressing that you're going for? Are you going for a more casual look? Are you going for a smart casual, business casual look? Are you going for a funky look? Like, what do you want to wear? And what is that theme that you're trying to convey? What is that message? What is that look that you're really trying to convey? Which, like, brings me back to the young lady that I spoke about, that I met at the happy hour that I went to, that she was wearing these athleisure wear, and she was wearing her African head wrap and a really cool crop leather jacket, right? And to put that all together, the theme that she was going for is like, okay, I want to be comfortable, but I also want to send a message that I didn't just roll out of my bed, roll out of the gym, and put on some clothing. I want to be funky and still tap into that style of dressing that I would do every day, right? So she was like, I would wear every day. I'm full on, I'm dressed, and I'm always wearing my African head wrap, because that tells the story of who I am as a person, right? What is it I like? What is it I believe? Like, this is my origin. And she gets to tell that origin story as to why she's wearing what she's wearing, and connecting that to her roots. And now you get an understanding as to who she is beyond the industry that she works and beyond the title that she carries, right? So there's her main characters were the athleisure wear and putting on that denim jacket. The theme that she was going for, it was more a funky vibe, more of and look at me, interesting look, right? That was the vibe that she was going for. What was the third element is the supporting cast. The supporting cast is what helps you to pull your outfit together. These are the things that you will add to really uplift your outfit, to really move your outfit from basic to elevated to interesting, to really boost your confidence, to really feel great about yourself. So looking at me today, my outfit of choice is like this simple button-down neon shirt. But the thing that the supporting cast that I'm using to elevate it is my necklace, right? So that is your supporting cast. When you think about your supporting cast in terms of getting dressed, is the jewelry that you use, is the shoes that you wear, is the type of bag that you opt for, right? Those are your supporting cast. Now your supporting cast can become your the piece that really stands out. That's the interesting piece. That's your statement piece. Or your supporting cast can just be that piece that really brings everything together, right? So if you opt for your supporting cast, that's your jewelry, that's your accessories, to be that statement piece, to be that signature piece in your outfit, to be that piece that really tells your story, then that becomes the focus of your entire outfit. So you may opt for, when you're looking at your main character pieces, you may opt for something that's a little bit more subtle. So you're not overpowering that supporting piece, meaning your accessories or your shoes or your bag, whatever it is you're going for. Now, the final piece of the puzzle of really telling your story based on the things that you're wearing through your clothing is, now we look at dialogue, right? When you think about your movie scenes, you think about your favorite actress in a movie, she's the main character. There's a theme behind the stories that she wants to tell. There's a supporting cast around her. And then there's also her dialogue. In this case, when we talk about style and we talk about the things that we're talking about your message, right? That's what your dialogue now becomes, your message. When you enter that room, what is it you want people to know about you? What is it you want to communicate? What is it you want to stand out? How do you now say, based on everything that I'm wearing, this is who I am, let's have a dialogue, right? And that's where you have to put all those pieces together, building your main character, knowing what the element, the outfit piece, the garment that you're going to be wearing, the theme that of dressing that you want to convey, whether or not it's business, funky, casual, adding your supporting cast with your shoes, your bag, your accessories, your jewelry, and now communicating your message, telling people who you are before they have an opportunity to really build their understanding of you, but you're really telling people who you are. So for instance, for me, whenever I go, like, I've determined, like, my theme of dressing for networking events is always going to be business casual, right? That's what it's going to be, because that is the style of dress that makes me feel more confident, that makes me protrude, just convey that level of confidence that I need people to really buy into and get that connection that, oh, I'm a confident person, right? And really telling that story of, at the same time, that I'm confident, I'm creative, and I'm being bold, but I'm also professional. I do have that level of, my professional dress is business casual. This is how I'm going to show up. Right. So to tell my story and to tell my message of that, it's a combination of how I mix colors, how I wear jewelry, how I wear, what type of shoes I'm going to wear. I'm always in heels. I tell people this all the time. Heels is my power piece, is how I feel confident, is that thing that makes me feel confident. I'm 5 feet. Being in a corporate space or a networking event, me wearing flats does not give me the level of confidence that I need. Heels does that for me. So you'll always see me wearing heels at networking events. But I can decide, am I going to tell my story and my brand message and who I am through my supporting cast, which is my jewelry, my bag, or my shoes? Or am I going to tell that through the main characters, that being the pieces that I choose, my dress, my skirt, my pants, whatever is it I choose to wear, right? So putting all that together is where your dialogue comes in. It's where your message comes in. It's where you tell people who you are before they get an opportunity to really speak to you and learn more about you. As I said, fashion is an instant language. It instantly tells people who you are. It instantly communicates to them what are some of your values and what are some of the things you believe in, right? Because honest, I remember right? And this is like one of my favorite quotes. It said, what you wear is how you present yourself to the world, right? Especially today when human contacts are so quick. We're in a virtual space. Whether or not you're in a room or on Zoom, you're in a space where people are trying to learn more about you, where people are trying to build a relationship with you, where people are trying to know whether or not you're part of their tribe, and invite you to be a part of their tribe. And what you wear is a great opportunity to really tell your story, to really communicate who you are as a person outside of your industry, right? I think, as I said, most of us get dressed with our industry in mind. And when we do that, you check out as to who you are at the door, right? You leave who you are at the door, and you enter this room in your industry uniform, and then we see you as just someone who's blending in. You're not standing out. But I want to challenge you to really take this opportunity as you are reemerging into the world, whether or not you're going networking events or you're going back to the office, to think about how can you use the clothes that you wear, and how can you build a wardrobe with clothes that really tells who you are, right? It does not take away from you dressing appropriately for your industry, but you become a lot more interesting. You become a lot more valuable when people can see you for who you are, not the industry that you're in. You put yourself on a different level when I can talk to you and say like, oh my gosh, I learned something new about you. And you don't have to go into that spiel of what you do, what industry you work, but people are more drawn and connected to you, and what you wear is a great opportunity for you to really make that connection and really tell your story. So that's what I want to challenge you to do today, is to start thinking of ways that you can use your clothing to communicate who you are, using those 4 steps that I said of 4 elements of storytelling through your style. Is developing your main characters, knowing what you want to add to your wardrobe as your main character. What is the theme of dressing that you want to convey and you want to have? What are your supporting cast, the pieces that you're going to use to bring it all together? And then, of course, the dialogue, which is your message, which is the most powerful part of your personal brand and who you are as a person, right? We're no longer checking ourselves at the door, but we're opening the door, entering rooms and showing up as ourselves 100%. That's what I want to challenge you today. So thank you very much for joining me live. If you're watching this on the replay, we're talking about how to tell your story through the clothing that you wear so that you can have a greater impact in your career or business. Thank you to those of you who joined me live. I appreciate it. I will see you on the next live. Have a great week, and remember, we are styling to impact. Take care. Bye.